Hello and welcome to the Battling Barrow and another Pirates of Mystara Waffle session. This is the series where I go over my D&D campaign in a waffle-like manner. Apologies if you hear traffic noise in the background. It's summer here, it's really hot, so my windows are open and I live in quite a built-up area, so maybe I will add to the ambience? I don't know. But yeah, we're going to carry on with the Captain Clegg campaign. So this is where, at the moment, it started off as a sandbox and the players do what they want and turned into a pirates campaign. And then for last year, bits of sort of in-game narrative I sort of pulled together to create the Captain Clegg campaign. Thereafter, 8 pieces of 8. Captain Clegg is on the path of immortality. Each one of these pieces of 8, his soul is inside it. He needs to now get hold of a Pearl of Khalifa to complete his ritual. And the players have to collect the pieces of 8 to prevent the ritual from happening. They're scattered around the known world of Mystara. And so that's where we are. Also, our adventure sort of started it off in Black Sand at the end of the last session. They now have Lord Azure as a patron, which is great. That allows me to give out the adventures, have his spy network provide all the background adventure stuff for the adventures. That's really great. It's like beforehand I'd have to cleverly try and work out how to wind it into a narrative. I mean, you could just say, here's the adventure, this is the background, crack on with it, but I kind of wanted more in-game way of doing things. And so he allows me to do that. Speaking of patrons, on my Patreon, I put a poll up to see how this session would start. Do you want to start in Ierendi City, or do you want to have a ship-to-ship encounter? You voted for ship-to-ship encounter, so that's where we start now. But let's give you the background for the adventure first. So, Captain Clegg was a cleric of the People's Temple in Ierendi, and he stored one of his pieces of 8, a conch shell of Alphatia, in the vaults there. Whilst he was down there, he discovered that the hope stones, long thought to have been destroyed, are in fact intact. He told some other clergy this, and these were the first guys that become his first undead crew. But Clegg, being a mean-hearted person, in the end poked their eyes out so they could never ever read the hope stones. The reason they joined him was because they thought he would show them what was written on the hope stones. Being the malicious git that he is, he poked their eyes out and turned them undead, and they were his first crew, undead crew of sailors. Yes, this sort of sounds somewhat familiar, Undead, Blind Dead. It's just recently I've been watching the 70s zombie horror films, the Blind Dead series, which are good ideas, probably poorly executed, but yeah, but I'm taking inspiration for that because I've established that Clegg's crew is effectively immortal. The only thing that can destroy them is red steel weapons. Players don't have any of those. So having this sort of real threat of this blinded has worried the players, especially when, not this session, but they will be meeting them. But that's for a future session. So that's the background. So they got to get into the People's Vault to get one of the pieces of 8, the conch shell of Alphatia. Azure tells them there's a contact in Ierendi City called Thomas, and they should go and speak to him. He's actually did a successful heist in and out of the People's Temple Vault, so he should be able to guide them to get in and do a heist. So yeah, I'm sort of, the players thinking this adventure is a heist adventure, and spoilers. And if you're a player, you can skip ahead a couple of minutes. It's not. That's a bit of flim-flam on my part, a bit of distraction. So as I mentioned, we had the vote, and we're going to start in the ship-to-ship combat rather than starting in Ierendi City, where the adventure starts proper. And so I do have an encounter table for ocean encounters, which are available for patrons to download. But I knew what I wanted to do, so from that, I sort of picked an option rather than roll randomly. I wanted it to be a rival pirate faction encounter. The players are from Keramikos, so they're Keramikan faction. it's fantasy pirates. I know in reality pirates, back in history, historical pirates weren't forming gangs, as it were, but this is fantasy, so I think I'm allowed it. Each nation has its own pirate faction, and so basically, as a rival gang, they're sailing into Ierendi waters. That's someone else's turf, so to speak. So kind of wanted to show the players that you know, they're all working against each other, and also I wanted to get a time limit onto this adventure. And so we do the ship-to-ship combat, and I knew how it'd go. It'd go pretty much in the player's favour. There's only one pirate ship. So what I did, they boarded, spoke to the captain relayed that the Ierendi pirates are also after the pieces of 8. They can't have Keramikos pirates claiming all the glory, so they're after it. So what this has done is introduce a time limit, knowing that all different pirate factions are going to be after the same things as the players are. So if the players drag their heels and get in the item, another faction could get there before them. That's called foreshadowing. So they basically sink the ship, let and conscript some of the crew. So now the players' ship are full strength on crew, and then we then now sail to Ierendi. And what I've done here, I wanted to do something different with medieval stuff. You can get a bit grim and dark in your towns and stuff. I want to inject a bit of colour and festivities for this. So in this, it's going to be Regata week in Ierendi City, with a sort of festival atmosphere, bright colours, flags and banners flying, races up and down the harbour and sort of ships. You know, just a nice, bright, colourful affair. And the first thing that happens is the players dock. They're met by the harbour master, who demands, I think it's 50 gold pieces for a mooring fee. In casual conversation, they ask her about Thomas, and she says, yeah, she knows who he is, notorious thief, drinks in the Salty Kraken beach bar. She's just in general conversation, she also mentions there's a heavy fog on the north shore, which I hope she doesn't come south and spoil the regatta, because it's really nice weather at the moment. In this sort of encounter, I described there as a shadowy figure in the crowd, but the players don't pick up on this right now. I thought they would have jumped on that. The harbour master leaves, and they're confronted by 3 thugs with Clegg tattoos on their arm. And as the thugs are kind of squaring up to the players, I described the shadowy figure diving into the water, and this is a cobra, and it's going to attack their underwater boat. I kind of wish I'd made these thugs dominated copal slaves, as later on in this session we meet more of Clegg's sort of thugs later on, so it would have been sort of defined. I thought it would have been better to have, in hindsight, to have defined these rival factions and sort of pushing this time limit. I want that all these factions are trying to get to the different factions are trying to get to the shell. It's kind of mixed up here, I felt, and that's my bad. Like, I think the players thought the thugs were working, or the Cope was working for Clegg. It's not. Copal's a separate entity I've introduced in this adventure, and there'll be more of it next session. So yeah, it's and again, more foreshadowing. The Copal's attacking their boat because it's almost like that boat is a threat to the Copal's plans, and yeah, that is more foreshadowing. They kind of defeat the thugs. You know, this encounter wasn't set to challenge the players in any way, shape or form. They easily dispatch the thugs. The Copal does get dispatched, but not before leaving the underwater boat with only 4 hull points left. It does quite a bit of damage to it. But from this point here, there's 3 points of interest. They can gather some information about Thomas. There is a market on the docks, a betting ring, placing bets on the races, and the Salty Kraken beach bar, sort of just a bar on the beach. What I'll do here is I won't go into details of the information they get. I'll cover that at the end, so I'll go over all the points they got hold of at the end. And yeah, so I thought I'd done a good job of stressing the urgency, the timing. You know, you've got the pirates, the Ierendi pirates, but these thugs, Clegg's thugs are involved now. This Colebrew, and I thought, you know, yeah, they're going to pick up on the urgency, but they don't. They seem to dilly-dally. So they don't spend much time at the market. They go straight to the betting ring, and I'm thinking it's going to get information, get this done, get this job done. Nope, they stop to have to place a bet on races. In fact, they enter a race themselves with their underwater boat. Now, if it took another, like, racing quite fast, if they hit a bend, hit the water too much or something happened, the boat is literally going to fall apart. It's got 4 hull points left. And so they enter the boat into a race. They do win in the end because it's a magical underwater boat. It doesn't have a sail, so they lulled the crowd, the betting ring, to a false sense of insecurity, if you like. It's a goofy looking boat with no sail. How's it going to win a race? So it does, and they make a fair bit of money for it. But they get some information as well about Thomas, but it takes a lot of time. So they're now, things are still working behind the scenes. I've got to work out, how much time it will happen before something else happens behind the scenes, which I'm not going to go into detail in this video. So after that, they go to the bar, and in the bar there's a maid, a shadowy figure, more thugs of Cleggs sporting the tattoos. Well, I just wish I just had the other ones being something else. There's some dancers on the dance floor. They go over and speak to the barmaid first, order a drink, and they learn that she is in fact Thomas's girlfriend. He hasn't seen him in a few days, not since he got back from somewhere talking about singing shell. It's around this time that an altercation breaks out in the bar with Clegg's thugs, which quickly turns into a Tavern Ball, and I can't tell you how long I've been waiting to start a Tavern Ball in my campaign. So I have a sound system. I don't know if you watch the full videos, they're over on Patreon, but there's a sound system with lights and stuff. And I've had the Tavern Ball button geared up for years. I finally got to use it. So yeah, in this tavern, it doesn't matter who you fight, you're going to swing your fist and punch someone, and likewise someone's going to swing their fist and punch you. The players again seem to dilly-dally here. I'm not too sure if they were testing me or if I'm testing them at this stage. They seem to revel in the chaos they've created in this bar. Again, this is all taking time. Time is of the essence, and they're taking time. But in this mad confusion, the players slip out the back. It's only a beach bar. It's not. There's no walls on this bar, so effectively just a bar, some posts, and a roof, and it's sort of that sort of tropical bar, beach bar. I have it at hand, and a model of it. But you have to watch the full video for it. Hopefully you've seen it on screen now, actually. But do go over and watch the full sessions on Patreon. So they're out the back now. This is getting towards the end of the session because really the ship combat took up half the session. So it doesn't seem like a lot happened, but this is setting for the adventure. But here's what we got for some information. There is a fog on the North Shore. I don't know if they picked up on that. That's something of interest. Hopefully. Thomas drunk in the Salty Kraken, but he wasn't there. But he would also often go to Smuggler's Cove on the North Shore. Smuggler's Cove, where the fog is now. He recently got back from somewhere talking about a singing shell, and he hasn't been seen for a few days. It's then that a crazed man runs in to the tavern shouting for the barmaid. He's a friend of hers and Thomas's, and he was with him yesterday at Smuggler's Cove. An unnatural fog came out of the ocean, and out of the fog came undead with no eyes. Yes, the blind dead. And they snatched Thomas and dragged him back to the ship. The guy ran away but tripped over and knocked himself out. He woke up this morning and the fog and the ship were still there, but the undead and Thomas weren't. He ran back screaming in terror to bump into the players, and that is where we left the session. So next session, I'm going to force the players to start to go to the North Shore and effectively board the undead, blind dead ship. This will be a total stealth mission. So we're going to start next session boarding the undead ship. I was hoping to end this session on that encounter and then start the next session doing the actual heist, or planning the heist and doing the heist. But this next session should be a good way of opening it. I was hoping to do the next session before I recorded this video, so this video would be a bit more meaty, but we're not playing at all in June, and it'll be beginning part of July for our next play, and this session was back in May. I didn't want to forget what happened in this session, so I thought I'd do a little mini waffle session if you like. Although I don't know how long this recording's been, it's probably been quite long because I do waffle on, and I try and write down notes now and so make it a bit more cohesive. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I hope you enjoyed this weird waffle session. I do. If you do, hit the like button, and if you really like it, leave me a comment. Leave me a comment that says you should have made the thugs corporal slaves or something like that. Just so I know you've watched and it's good for the algorithm. And if you're super awesome and not subscribed, have a subscribe. I do sort of waffle sessions, terrain making, and I've got some Warhammer Quest stuff coming up soon. So yeah, until then guys, stay safe, take care, bye bye bye.